everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Yogi, and in today's video I would like to talk to you about a Seattle half marathon. And the reason why I want to talk about it or why I want to make that kind of video is just simply to give you an idea and advice of how to tackle the races, how to tackle that certain course, that particular course basically, so you can start steady, you can actually progress throughout, and then you can finish strong, because sometimes it's really hard to find information about certain races, and then some information can be a bit misleading. Videos like this, I would like to talk to you through from my own experience, so I wouldn't talk to you about the race that I haven't done it. It's more likely I would talk to you about the races that I already done it, give you some ideas, give my opinion, and then hopefully that way I will be able to help some of you in the future. Like if you haven't done that race before and you want to have a look before you sign up, then hopefully that video will help you. Or even if you've done it in the past and then you can't remember the course and you would like to find some information, hopefully that video as well will be able to help you. So I will just go load up my Strava, and then we're gonna go through some information and how to tackle it. So let's go. So before we actually move on, bear in mind this is the first time I'm doing something like this. I will probably use my experience. I'm sorry if I talk too much or a bit of unorganization here, but let's just do it and hopefully it will end up pretty well. Seattle half marathon, it's not flat, it's very hilly. Well, not very hilly, but it's like hilly course. You're going uphill, downhill. Some of the hills are quite steep. It's a very weather dependent. Luckily when I was there it was pretty nice, and it was a bit funny in a weird way. When I did a warm-up it was windy, going kind of towards, because I did a warm-up the way the race was going, so kind of running that way it was windy. So then I thought, that's great, I can push a bit harder going one way, and then coming back there will be no wind, so I can kind of push even harder. But it turns out that actually I didn't have any wind going one way, but then coming back, actually once we actually hit the half marker and just running back, that's when there was a quite strong wind. So it slows us down, not only slows down running uphill but also slows down because of that wind, which later in the end the weather improved, and on the finish line it was nice and warm, sunny, and no wind, so you could kind of push yourself a bit harder to get that pace a bit better. The race I did in a time of 1 hour 20 minutes and 57 seconds. I came second. I ran with one of my close friends. We start strong-ish, we kind of help each other. He was leading, then we swap, I was leading, so it's kind of like we could preserve some energy throughout the course. When you run on your own it can be a bit hard, because if you're actually leading, or if there's a gap between the runners, it can be hard to kind of focus. Overall, the way I would do it again about the race, because I believe maybe we start a bit too hard, but then obviously we didn't know what to expect. There was so many surprises, but it's the way I would do it in the beginning. I would actually maybe start a bit slower, to kind of get that pace going, get the muscle going, because you kind of start slightly uphill and then eventually go uphill and downhill, up and downhill, and it's kind of nice low elevation. But then eventually, according to my Strava, elevation was 330 miles, and it actually felt that, I'm not gonna lie. So like I said, in the beginning I would just kind of run slower. If you're not strong with your legs running uphill, then just start nice and easy, because you can pick up the pace later, and that can make actually a lot easier. My average pace was 3 minutes 52 seconds per kilometer. It's not a PB, it's not my PB pace. My current PB is 118, so it was like 2 minutes behind. But like I said, the course, it's not flat, and the course is quite interesting, because you're running one way to the basically kind of like half marker, you do a U-turn and you run back. Obviously when you do 10 mile, obviously you run 5 mile one way, you turn around and you run 5 mile back. Same with the 10k, you run 5k one way, you do your turn and you run 5k back, which is very simple. It's kind of like, you know, you're running one way and then, you know, when you turn around you know actually what to expect. The only half marathon, what you do is like you're running one way, you kind of get to the village, you turn around, you run back, but then it's kind of like halfway or maybe 1/4 of the course when you're coming back. It's kind of like you're running uphill and then you're supposed to turn right and you carry on running uphill. You can kind of see the road, but what they do, they're telling you to run further, so you kind of like run uphill, you pass that turn, you run straight downhill for maybe slightly over 1 kilometer, you get to the village, you turn around and then you run back uphill, and then you do like a U-turn left and then you run uphill. It's I knew about this when I did a bit of research, but I totally forgot about it because, you know, I was focusing on, you know, running with a friend and then pacing and trying to keep that pace strong, and then, you know, we had like a third person behind us, so we tried to maintain the same speed so that third person's not on our way kind of thing, so just one of us can be first and one of us can be second. Yeah, like I said, the pace wise can differ, so don't get yourself put off by that. I would recommend, if you've never done anything like this, or like I said, if something, you know, you never tackle like this, or you just simply not strong enough, you know, running uphill, the best way I would do to kind of not worn out yourself is every time when you run uphill, slow down, let your legs slow down the way they feel, the way your body feel, and then once you kind of get uphill, you know what's ahead from you, so then you can kind of speed up. It's kind of, it can be good and also can be bad, but personally that's maybe how I would do it, to simply run slowly up, get to the top, speed up pick up the pace, and then just simply run back. And then it kind of helps you because when you're running down, you kind of still on that speed, you're going slightly uphill until you actually slow down, and then you kind of, when you're slowing down, you're almost on the top, and then you run again downhill. So that's the way I would do it if, you know, if you've never done anything like this before. It's actually a really good course. I will definitely come back next year and do it again because I really enjoyed it. It's a good training course, I would say. I'm currently training for London Marathon. I used that race as a long tempo run, part of a Sunday long run, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. The atmosphere was great. Not many runners, I think it was over 200 for a half marathon, but it's a great course. You know, it's a very weather dependent as well, because if it's windy it can be very hard, if it's raining it can be uncomfortable, and then when it's hot, like it was getting a bit hotter coming back, then yeah, it can be too hot, especially when you're running uphill. If you're running half marathon, also what you should be aware of is that when you actually come into that a marker, when you do kind of U-turn, you kind of going uphill and then you have a long downhill before you kind of turning left to run over like a small bridge. There's a man volunteer with the water when you do U-turn and you run back. Unfortunately, when you're coming back, you have to run that up that hill, and like for instance, comparing to my splits, for instance, running downhill to that middle section, I was pacing like 10th k, 11th k, I was doing 3:48 and 3:56 roughly, but then obviously running that uphill, it just dropped to 4:32, 4:40. You can see the difference in the pacing. I did pretty much the same way, like I've seen the hill, and then I just let my body to the work basically. You know, if the legs couldn't cope, I didn't want to burn out totally, I just slowed down a bit and then picked up the pace again when I basically was on the top, and then kind of run back because I knew what to expect next. So it went from 4:32 to 3:58 pace, and then I had a 4:02, and then, you know, 3:49, 4:12. So you can see the difference between the pacing. For me, keeping consistent pace was a bit too hard, so Like I said, it's not a PB course, but it's a great course. It's amazing atmosphere. I got a medal here. I will show you. The medal is massive. So first of all, I love that. It's a beautiful color. It's fading from orange to black. And the medal, so that's my hand, and you can see how big the medal is. I will show closer. So that kind of medal, what it was in 2023. And also, because I got second place, I got a little trophy. In the end of the race, there's like a stands with, you know, cakes, sweets, beer, non-alcoholic beer, you know, sweets, and also you can have a like hot dog and a kind of style like a hamburger, which I didn't go for that. Everything. I mean, I'm trying to kind of, you know, remember everything what to say, and, you know, like to give you as much information as possible. Obviously, like I said, I'm not gonna lie, it's the first one to kind of do something like this. I would like to do more, because I did a lot of races in the past, so some of them I would like to go through, give you an idea, and then basically just, you know, help you out, or maybe help as much as possible. When it comes to 10 mile, I forgot to mention that before, when you do a 10 mile, you pretty much running same course, but then you don't, you know, instead of like passing the turn, coming back and you run straight, you kind of go normal way, you just turn right and going uphill. But then when you're coming downhill to that 8k, you have to turn around just when you go downhill, and then you have to run back uphill, which yeah, it can be very surprising. Like I said, if you haven't done that before, a bit like surprising, and it might make you feel like, oh god, there's that hill, I just ran down and now I have to run back. So bear in mind that about that and just take it easy. Like I said, if you've never done that before, it's an APB course, just, you know, go gentle. And also, if you want to have a look on the results from previous years, I think last year somebody did in 114. That guy must have been flying, but like the second and third place was like 126, 128. You know, look, sometimes looking at the time results can help you as well. It kind of gives you an idea, really, you know, what the course is like when you can see those times. And also, I've noticed, obviously I looked more deeper into it, but like I could give yourself maybe extra 3 minutes from your PB. So if you did a half marathon, let's say 1:35, then if you run this course, just give yourself that maybe 3 minutes extra. Like I said, my PB is 1:18 in a half marathon, and I did in 1:20. Well, it's 1:18 something, and I did 1:20 something. When I did a bit of research and I looked on the other runners from previous years, it's kind of shows that it's about 2 to 3, maybe maximum 4 minutes difference from their PBs to the time that I actually did it in that course. I hope that kind of video helps you. And like I said, it's organized by Grim Up North. They do lots of different great runnings events, which probably I will go for it. They do, like I said, from short to long distance. I think they even did some ultra marathons distance there as well, and they do from trail to roads as well. So I fully recommend to go and have a look. I will leave the link below so you can have a look on their websites. And once again, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it helped you to understand the course better. Obviously, based on that video, I will do my best to progress better and then give you more information in the future. Yeah, I hope you have a lovely day. Enjoy running. Running is the best sport in the world. It's very relaxing. Make the most of it. Enjoy every minute of it. Work hard for your dreams, for your goals. And that's it from me. And I will see you next time. See you later.